violin, sort of play by guess and by golly. One of the nice things that it can do, though, is that you have available to you all the notes in between the notes, as it were. And it is wonderful for slide style, sort of blues banjo. Sounds kind of like this. This banjo was made in 1960 by a man named Frank Prophet of Reese, North Carolina. He was one of the premier instrument makers and folklorists of his time. He wrote the song Tom Dooley. He had it stolen from him. It became a big hit, and he never made a nickel off of it. But, this is one of his instruments.
Are they on tuners?
Yeah, what goes on this thing, there are several modifications of being a musical instrument maker for many years. When I got this, it was in disrepair, and I had available to me some of his original handmade parts, so I fitted the pegs, which he had already roughly made. The little pieces of wood, they're hard to see, you can come up and look at it later, here down at the end, are fine tuners. This principle of a little sliding bead along a string to fine-tune an instrument has been used for several thousands of years in India, and it works perfectly on this instrument. You can sort of hear the change as I slide it. Just changes it very slightly. Works wonderfully. Now, by about 1885, this instrument started to change when it came in contact with European instruments that were fretted. And we started to get instruments that looked like what Joe Frazier's holding down on the end.
That one.
Also open back.
More or less.
Like this. Open in the back.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And this instrument has a much tighter head, it's much brighter in sound. I'll play it too. Maybe I'll even tune it.
No, the old saying is you can't tune banjo. That's a mechanism.
We'll get your chair, Steve. 1973. This is one from the ill-fated Mount Lebanon Banjo Company, Mount Lebanon, New York. We made 16 of these before going broke. And yeah, that type of style I was playing was a style that was widely recorded and became very popular right after the First World War in the American Southern Mountains. And there are 1,005,000,000 fiddle tunes that are also played on the banjo. And I'd like to get Joe Fallon to do some of that now.
Sure. Hi, I'm Joe Fallon, and this is my good buddy Joe Herman, 2/3 of Critton Hall String Band. And we played a lot of music together, fiddle and banjo stuff, and a lot of dances. So this is an old dance tune called Rock the Cradle Joe, a pretty appropriate tune. Mostly Joe's on the bus. My influences in the banjo were mostly my contemporaries. I learned a lot from just, I didn't start playing until about 8 or 10 years ago. And I didn't listen to a lot of records. I learned a lot from people like Bob Carlin and all these other people that were involved in a style that was played down around southwestern Virginia, a little town called Galax, and another town called Hillsville down there, and Mount Airy, North Carolina. That's where a lot of these tunes come from.
You told me your first banjo teacher when you decided to learn how to play.
That's right. I was in New York City, and I decided I had to learn how to play the banjo. And so I took lessons from a guy named Eric Darling. Anyone ever hear of Eric Darling? Yeah. Eric Darling was the guy that played 12-string guitar on Walk Right In and Sit Right On Down with, what was that thing, Rooftop Singers.
But you told me you went in there once and he told you all this stuff to do and you came back and you showed him how you figured this stuff out and then he said, well, I can't really do anything for you.
He said, I can't teach anymore. Yes, I was a prodigy. 27-year-old prodigy.
I never knew what he meant by that.
I never did either, and I didn't ask, in fact. Anyway, rock the cradle, Joe.
I had a question for Joe earlier about the strumming style. You said this place happened here. That's old timers supposed to bluegrass.
Right. I didn't really know that much about the history of how the styles came about. What I understand is, and maybe these guys can straighten me out if this isn't true, that this, the frailing style isn't, I don't think it's the oldest style of banjo playing, but it is an older style than the three-finger picking style that was, quote, invented by Earl Scruggs, which isn't exactly true. I don't think that that's exactly true, because he learned from Snuffy Jenkins or something, Pappy Shower, right?
Yeah.
And, oh, go ahead. Go ahead. And anyway, the style I play is the style that you find a lot of people in West Virginia, a lot of the old guys play that way, and in southwestern Virginia. But there's I think that there's I'm not sure, I would think that two-finger picking was probably an older style than clawhand, was that true, or frailing?
Yeah, in fact, the earliest banjo revival when banjo attained tremendous popularity was prior to World War I in the ragtime era. And then it was played in a very interesting way. The gentlemen sitting down in full dress with their banjos, playing without picks, usually with 2 or 3 fingers, with their plucking fingers. And they were playing things like John Philip Sousa marches. Very formal. It was called the classical banjo style. And you can even find sheet music for this day, written for the 5-string banjo. And they were reading it now.
There were also large banjo clubs or orchestras where you had all kinds of banjos, bass banjos, piccolo banjos, and banjo societies. And there's still, I guess, a number of people who correspond and have, I guess there's a column in Banjo Newsletter that covers the classic style. A lot of ragtime music was played in that too.
This gentleman is Mr. Steve Wharton of the Acme String Ensemble.
I suspect that the first style was the slaves played was probably the down-picking style, which was brought over from Africa. I don't know. I think that usually the two-finger picking came in when more strings started getting added to the banjo, like before the Civil War, but nobody has any recordings or anything to refer to, and there weren't banjo books floating around in the 1830s or anything, so it's probably a big mystery, I guess.
Yeah. What we'll be doing is going up through some of the styles, and you'll see some of the modern picking techniques as well. Steve plays a lot of the different types of early string band music, not just the frailing style that Joe and I were playing. So I'd like Steve to perhaps give us a song now.
Well, actually, I'm going to disappoint you and do some more of the down-picking or clawing style.
That's fine too, Steve.
Okay, that's what I prepared for. And I guess this is a couple of West Virginian tunes I learned from a record by Franklin George, I believe is a West Virginian. And the first tune is Salt River, and the second is Nancy Ann. I have a banjo here that's about as old as Kaiser Wilhelm would be if he were alive.
But he's dead. What does that make you mention?
I'm dead after you hear that. Anyway, Salt River and Nancy Ann.
Sitting patiently on my right is Mr. David Boots, who is a banjo player of one of the finest bands north of San Francisco, Hijinks. And David plays in a more modern style. First of all, you'll notice that we who have already played play with nothing on our fingers. We're just using our fingernails, the backs of our nails mostly. David uses picks on his fingers, and he uses the modern three-fingered style, not only in the bluegrass style, but in the more melodic style, and he plays not only country music, but jazz and some very modern music, and it was very exciting to hear it on banjo. David, what would you like to give us?
Well, I'd like to play the standard song that everybody knows on the banjo, the one that got me excited about banjo. I just wanted to say there's two things in life that I got really excited about at an early age. One was banjo and one was women. I'm beginning to understand the banjo.
It's much more percussive than the other styles, but it's somewhat less rhythmic, and it actually fits better into a band format. And the string band format seems to have slowly solidified around banjo, mandolin, and violin as the high-pitched solo instruments, with guitar and often bass supplying the bottom end. However, in the early days, the string bands were much more diverse than that. There were bands such as Henry Ford's Old Time Dance Orchestra that would have instrumentation such as banjo, cembalo, and tuba. That's all. And the sound of it was wonderful. And one of the unique things that was done early on that is rarely heard anymore is that you get a whole bunch of trebly instruments, high-frequency instruments, banjo, fiddle, and harmonica, for instance, playing simultaneously without any bottom end at all. It gives a very exciting sound. In any case, I'd like David now perhaps to play something more jazzy modern.
Okay, I lived for a while in New Orleans, and in New Orleans, if you play music, you can either join a band or be a street musician. As a street musician, I got real good at learning songs. If somebody had $1, I knew the song before they dropped it. I made sure I knew it. Some of the songs I played were something like this.
Now, banjos are tremendously variable instruments, even in these days of plastic heads that replace the old-fashioned skin heads that are not so prone to soften up and get floppy when it gets moist out. Just how tight they are and how loose they are, the thickness of the bridge, means that a single instrument can sound tremendously varied. And therefore banjos have sort of their own souls. At different times of the day even, they'll change depending upon the temperature and humidity.
Or how you look at them.
Yeah.
Or top.
Yeah, definitely. For instance, an interesting thing in the construction of Joe's banjo is that the frets end before the end of the neck. Can you hold that up and show them? And in fact, you may not be able to see, but the wood of the neck is actually carved out at that point, And it makes it easier for his playing style because his hand fits right there, and that is where he is actually hitting the strings.
Yeah, someone told me that in physics there's a reason also. Because it's at the 19th fret, which is a fret where 17th fret, which is a fret that there's a certain harmonic at. If you were to play on 17th fret real lightly, it would ring a little bit, and it gives the banjo just a little bit more, makes it sound a little fatter, I think, when you play up there, when you play close to the bridge.
In fact, right at the moment I have my banjo tuned 2 half notes above standard pitch. And it makes it have a much harder ring. Also, if I play it with my hand very close to the bridge, I can get very hard ring to it, instead of up here where I like to play, which is a very soft tone. Hear the difference? And in fact, what I'm going to do, I'll get off the microphone and do this back there. So I'm going to retune it lower, and it'll change the character of the instrument. While I'm doing that, I'd like Steve to play perhaps a different style than an early string band thing. What have you got? Well, actually, I would love to have you sing something and play with it, because that's a whole other aspect of the instrument.
Hey Ray, those skinheads you mentioned, those the people that we're going to meet in Napa?
Well, I found one of them. That's how I got this one.
Oh. Very white.
I'm going to start a group called the Plastic Heads. I'm going to start a group called the Plastic Heads.
Michael loves to lambaste Alapecian bands. He's just talking about skinheads. This is, I'll do the whole long song. This is a kind of a dry, humorous hillbilly song from the 20s and 30s. Everybody seemed to have a different version of it. And I'm going to use a style that was not exactly like the sort of characteristic of Charlie Poole and some of the three-finger pickers that had really very, in some respects, cosmopolitan banjo styles in that era. They picked with 3 fingers, but they didn't quite pick like David does, for example. This is actually not a lead style, at least with me. It's more of an accompaniment style, and it was adapted around the turn of the century from classic guitar players for the 5-string banjo. It's just a kind of a roll like so. And at that time, actually, the guitar hadn't much entered American rural music. It was sort of a polite parlor instrument. And as Ray mentioned earlier, that at that time, before the turn of the century, the big music was for banjo, at least for note-reading, educated banjo players, was the classic style. As he said, a lot of other kinds of music were picked with usually 3 fingers, and we had a calfskin head and usually gut strings at that time. Later, they were replaced by nylon. But anyway, this is the old All Go Hungry Hash House. Well, what would we do without Michael Harmon at this festival here? He's indispensable. I could never have reached that myself. The All Go Hungry Hash House. I'm a boarder and I dwell in the 2nd-class hotel. If I stay here long, I think I'll go insane. For I lie here on my bunk and I cannot reach my trunk. And the board I owe would break a millionaire. Oh, they feed on chicken pie. If you eat it, you will die. And the meat you could not cut it with a sword. For the undertakers hang around, for there's work there to be found in the All Go Hungry Hash House where I go.
yeah, there you go. This is an old song that I learned from a recording of a guy named Michael Cooney. Maybe you've all heard of him. Great banjo player, really great banjo player. And it's an old song. Of course, he only sings mostly old songs. And I've heard this done lots of different ways also. It's called Woe Back Buck. Sometimes I climb my old gray horse, sometimes I climb my muley. Soon as I get my cock crop, I am going home to Julie. Go back, but too darn slow. Who makes back then? I don't know. Last year was a very fun year. Got corn and tomatoes. Pop didn't plant no beans and greens, but Lord got potatoes. Potatoes, potatoes, Lord got potatoes. Go back, but too darn slow. Who makes back then? I don't know. My gal will wear no high-bun shoes, beats too big for gators, all too good for the dip of snuff and yellow yank taters. Go back bucking too darn slow, who'll make back then? I don't know. Me and my gal go walking down the road, her knees like a Me and my gal go walking down the road, her knees like a playing sugar in the board, and can't get it out. Way to get sugar in the roller door foul. Go back bucking too darn slow, who'll make back then? I don't know. Takes more music to pull four square cloud, music full of trouble. Take me back to Georgia boys, and I won't be no trouble. Go back bucking too darn slow, who'll make back then? I don't know. Sometimes I climb my old gray horse, sometimes I climb my muley. Soon as I get my cock crop, I am going home to Julie. Go back bucking too darn slow, who'll make back then? I don't know.
For me, one of the most fascinating aspects of the banjo is that it's used in many different tunings. And most banjo players wind up inventing some inadvertently. I heard a version of a song that I liked very much, and I invented a banjo version, in a banjo tuning to play that. Let's see if I can get it. This song is done by many bluegrass groups. It's called Reuben. I got the version from Joe Hickerson, the Library of Congress. Not the banjo tune. home. If you got some liquor, then give me some. 'Cause I'll never get home this old way. This old way. This old way down the river road. I'll never see my mother this way. Oh, Reuben, Reuben. Oh, Reuben, we've been so long. Well, I took my razor blade, laid Reuben in the shade. I'm starting me a graveyard of my own. Old Reuben, old Reuben ain't got no home. It's very encouraging at the more bizarre aspects of the lyrics. It is an unusual song.
Hey, I want the tune before.
I'll get it there, yeah. Yeah, it has a particular value because it allows what is called a modal change. For those musicians among you, it's from a tonic chord to a flatted seventh. A very easy change to make in that particular tune. Now, David's not a singer particularly. Actually, he isn't.
No, but I would like to play you a song. It's so pretty, you'll all want to sing along.
All right.
It's Beethoven Mandolin Sonatina in C major. I'm going to play it in C major, then I'm going to play it in C minor. It was written in C major, but it sounds great in C minor.
Did you ask Banjo if you could do that?
No, he wasn't around.
Perfect example of the kind of banjo playing, classical banjo playing that we were talking about. Very unusual. I had the good fortune to meet a man named, how about that?
Make one up.
Paul Cadwell, yes.
What?
Paul Cadwell was this marvelous banjo player who played in this style. He was a protege of Mr. Fred Van Epps, and played a handmade Van Epps banjo. He was the premier banjoist in, I believe, in 1910 or 11 at the Harvard Banjo Society. It was not a club, it was a society. It was a very high-class thing to do. Fortunately, it descended to the rest of us later. Let's see, Joe, I would love to hear you do another song.
Okay. Twist my arm.
Yeah.
Let's see. Pretty much everyone's done songs that have been around for a long, long time. This is a song that I learned, sort of from Gene Ritchie. Actually, I learned the song from a record, and then I heard Gene Ritchie's version of it. Gene does it as I think as an a cappella song, and I had a good fortune to be playing on the same stage as her one night, and I said, Gene, I'd really like to do the L&M, Don't Stop Here Anymore, and she said, yeah, you could do that. I wasn't planning on singing it. Would you sing a little bit of it for me? And I said, yeah, sure. And I sang a little bit, and she says, oh, well, you do the Johnny Cash version of that song. And I said, well, is that okay? She said, yeah, I still make money on the Johnny Cash version. We know where your heart is.
This one other flexible material, every time you tighten the string, it pushes down and moves all the other strings.
The other thing I want to say is that everything I've said up here so far today is true, except for the first line of the song. When I was a curly-headed baby, sitting proud upon my dad's knee, he said, son, you go to school and learn your letters. Don't be no dusty minder like me. I was born and raised in a Banjo holler, with full parts going and rolling by my door. Now I'm standing in a rusty row all empty, and yelling and don't stop here no more. I used to think my daddy was a black man, with stripping up to buy a company store. Now he goes downtown with his pockets empty, his face is white as February snow. I was born and raised in the heart of Hazard Holler, with full hearts rolling, rumbling by my door. Now I'm standing in a rusty row all empty, and the yelling and don't stop here no more. Last night, June, I went down to the office to get my payday like I'd done before. Last night, June, I went down to the office to get my payday like I'd done before. Them old kudzu vines have covered up the doorways, and there's grass and trees growing to the floor. I was born and raised in the heart of Hazard Holler, with full heart rolling and rolling by my door. Now I'm standing in a rusty row all empty, and the yelling and don't stop here no more. Never thought I'd live to learn to love the coal dust. I never thought I'd pray to hear the tipples roar. But how I wish this grass could turn to money, and greenbacks fill my pockets once more. I was born and raised in the heart of Hazard Holler, with full heart rolling and rolling by my door. Now I'm standing in a rusty row all empty, and the yelling and don't stop here no more.
I'm going to do a song. I got a lot of my material and stuff I play with the Acme String Ensemble comes from old 78 records, and we sort of tried to recreate that sound from the 20s and 30s. This one we don't do. It's called Sugar Hill, and it's from Dad Crockett, who was a Kentucky mountaineer. I think over in North Carolina, or in that area, they play the tune in D, I believe, and in Kentucky they tend to play it in G, I think. Anyway, it's got lots of sex and violence, and this is the way people entertain themselves and frighten their children before the age of Stephen King novels, video cassettes, and television sets. Sugar Hill. It also features a device called the roll. Like that.
I'd like to try to do something on the banjo. Try and do something. A children's song, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And don't try this at home. This is called Chord Melodies. I won't be playing any roles. It's all chords. Wish me luck.
Sounds like Harry Como ought to sing.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, I'm going to jump back to the other end of the spectrum here. Use the fretless here and play a little bit of traditional styles with it in the song. I wish I was a mole in the ground. Wish I was a mole in the ground. If I was a mole in the ground, I'd root that mountain down. Wish I was a mole in the ground. Oh, Kimpy wants a $9 shawl. Kimpy wants a $9 shawl. When I come over the hill with a $20 bill, it's baby, where you been so long? Oh, baby, where you been so long? Baby, where you been so long? I've been in the pen with a rough and rowdy man. Baby, where you been so long? And that uses that wonderful catching all the notes in between the notes.
And if that doesn't put you on someone's back porch in Kentucky, nothing will.
That's it.
Just close your eyes and see the mountains.
Yeah, that's the style. I think we have just enough time for perhaps one or two more. How about one from you, Joe?
All right. I'll just play two fiddle tunes. First one is Old Joe Clark, sort of a little bit of a different version. I think you'll hear basically the tune in here. And then, if I can remember, the second one will be a tune that I learned from a couple of West Virginians, Michael Klein and Jerry Milnes, called Granny Does Your Dog Fight. It's another, pretty much two old banjo war horses. The other way around.
notes themselves all I could. Basically, I designed it so that by barring the top 3 strings on the 2nd fret, I got a C chord. Simple as that. Because then by taking it off, I have almost a complete B flat beneath it.
B flat with C.
Yeah, with the, yeah.
You can play on Broadway.
That's right, on Broadway. Do you have any other questions? Yes.
What's the make of that banjo you're playing now?
This one?
Yeah, what is that?
This is a Mount Lebanon banjo, made in New Lebanon, New York.
That's Ray's old banjo company, by the way. He was the Mount Lebanon banjo.
And 2 other guys made a bunch of these. And they were good instruments. The problem is that we were doing them all by hand. And as you see, they're not highly ornamented. Most banjo players want them more ornamented. We were making players' instruments, not lookers' instruments. And there it is. We learned a hard lesson in economics. Yeah, are there any other questions? Well, just about that time. Thank you all for coming.
Oh, that's
Warm welcome to the California Cajuns.